Hello people, and welcome back to part 12 of Noveria, our Cities Skylines snow build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the support on Sunday's live stream. We had a nice time doing some little detailing jobs. We also refined our office waterfront here and stumbled across a wonderful 4x4 office asset that works really nicely in a repeated pattern. If you haven't seen the live stream, it is of course up on the channel. You guys go ahead and check it out. But we discovered by putting 3 of these in a row or in a 4x4 block, you essentially create like another unique building. It works flush together. So if you haven't seen Sunday's live stream, please go and check the live streams out. They're always a nice time. And you guys can pick up some detailing tips from them as well. We also redrew our cycle highway alongside the highway here as well, which is getting some nice use now. There's a couple of little entry and exit points off this. It comes down here into a little tunnel, and tunnels under the highway, comes back out this side, and continues down here. And then we also detailed up our one of our arterials as well. You know, and these work really nicely in a very heavily repeated pattern like this, kind of down Main Street. Very American suburbia vibes with these. And it's nice. It's looking very, very cold, isn't it? The temperature is falling in Noveria. Do you know what else is falling? Instant Gaming's prices. I am an Instant Gaming partner, guys, and there are links down in the description below to support the channel, and you can pick yourself up some insanely cheap gaming codes, not only for Cities Skylines, but for other AAA titles as well, including the new Battlefield and the Sims 4 expansion. And if you haven't checked out the link and you're thinking of picking up a game, check out Instant Gaming. Chances are you'll get it for ridiculously cheap, and it also helps support the channel as well, so thank you. However, in today's episode of Noveria, we are going to move all the way over here to introduce a new highway ramp in and out of the city, because currently we only have this one here, and it's just starting to choke a little bit now, because the entire city is making their way through this one highway entrance point, which isn't efficient, so we'll add a new one down here. And also, during Sunday's stream, we popped all 81 tiles, so we can now build anywhere we want to, which is very exciting. We're still going to move through the milestones, but we now have full access to the entire map, which is tremendous. So we can do many more different themes now. Lots of rural builds, I'm sure. Maybe get a dam town here, a little town sat at the foot of the dam. Great cinematic opportunities here, right? I think we can all look forward to that. But let me know in the comments. Now we have access to all 81 tiles. We don't have to stick with the rigid expansion anymore. We can head over down these valleys or build something up on the mountaintop here. Maybe like a Peak 15 research facility up on the hills. Many opportunities, I'm sure. However, today's episode we're going to be working on a bus, intercity bus, metro and train transport hub to sit up alongside the highway and serve as a transport centre for this side of the map. Very much how we've done with Minot Square. Over here, you know, we've got a lot of public transport convergence happening, and we now want to generate another one of these centres for this side of the map as people head off in various directions. So let's get started, shall we? So there's a section of highway here where it straightens out perfectly, so I think this is what we're going to do. We'll start it from probably about here, I think. So we're going to remove 3 sections of the highway, and then we're going to come down into my 2-way highway. We'll bring that elevation step down as well. And then I'm going to come out by 10, underground by 10, and then back up, and then connect in. And then exactly the same over here as well. We'll worry about our layer mathematics at a later date once we have everything in. Let's also clear out a little bit of this forest here too, just so we can see what we're doing a little easier. So I'm going to use the little highway entrance system that I've been a big fan of recently, and this is the one with the arterial through the middle and then kind of the diamond roads around it. This is just working really efficiently for each time I've used it. So this is what we'll do, alright? So we'll upgrade this section here now into 2-way. We'll grab ourselves a highway ramp, and let's throw this, I think possibly 2 nodes along that road guideline, okay? We'll keep this running nice and symmetrically as well. Okay. And of course we can double check our measurements here as well. So we're at a distance of 720 here. But let's make sure that we're repeating that symmetry. So I got the measurements slightly wrong there. Let's come back in with our 3 lanes. There we go. And then again, come down by 150. Get those ramps in there. And then what we'll do is come with our road guideline. And we'll come out from the middle section. And then we just want that straight 45-degree angle straight back in like that. And we can see we're symmetrical because the tiles on either side of the arterial are symmetrical with each other. They are perfect mirror. There we go. So just nice and symmetrical. Now you can just check that you are symmetrical by filling in these tiles here. They're all this kind of Tetris block shape, so everyone's going to be happy with that. Okay, and then discussing some potential decoration opportunities. Let's have a farm fence maybe, off the road guideline. Maybe just drawing a couple little boxes out this way. And then perhaps some repeated beach action within these spaces here. Of course we can carry on the fence to run parallel with the slip roads as well if we wanted to. So because this is a super symmetrical on and off system, we'll also be able to accentuate those symmetrical vibes with some more fencing and trees in here as well. Okay, but this will do for what I want it to right now. So let's carry on grabbing the arterial here that feeds out of the main street. Now we could just do a roundabout here, which would work. That would be absolutely fine. There's no problem with a roundabout. But because we're in snow, I want to get some layers of height within the terrain itself. So I'm going to start digging out a little ditch, come onto a higher intensity here as well. Alright. So of course digging out more room than we need. Start out with here, so also take that away as well. Okay, that should be enough for right now. And then what I want to test is the appearance of the American 6-lane stone bridge here. So if we come onto the road guideline of this road here, we can find it. There it is. So this is what I'm after here. Alright. I don't think that's too bad for right now. Then we can connect into that side too. And we can also meet up with the land on this side as well. And then we can cut away a little bit more of this land here to expose those arches. Although we'll actually come out from this elevation now since we're slightly up. Let's come up by another step. There we go. And then we can meet back down with the earth on this side as well. So we haven't really used this bridge yet, the American 6-lane stone, but it's the arches that are going to give it a really nice vibe. It's going to be a nice change as well from the American Truss Bridge, which of course we've been spamming absolutely everywhere in the city so far. So I think I'm happy to use a new bridge here as well. Okay, so I'll have this going over here. Okay. And then let's start to bring in our arterial. Again, terraforming a little more land than we need here. Then of course we'll re-terraform to give it a much more natural look so it's not quite this harsh. And then we'll align our arterial to float underneath. Yeah, which is going to give us that layer of transport height as well, which is something we can all appreciate on the channel at this point, I think, isn't it? Now let's get a nice little slope up here, into our freeform tool. We can show a snap into the road guideline, and then in. And then just double checking that this isn't too severe. I think I'm fairly happy with that slope. Again, there's lots of rock and detail opportunities around here as well. And again, we'll just do the similar thing here now as well. We'll start sloping up and around. There's also a possibility to introduce a ring road connection into the area today as well. So we'll just soften these sloped curves out. Okay. And then let's grab ourselves our curve tool. No road guideline this time. So we'll maybe come out by 8 this time. And then we'll put road guideline back on. Here we go. And then we can come straight into this one here. So again, that was those slope tools and soften have eased this out a little bit. And we'll just hopefully see now a few people begin to recognize this as a connection in and out of the city. There we go. Of course, we'll want to remove some of these traffic lights, maybe not all of them. Okay, let's have a little look at that. So if we come onto our junctions, and then I want to turn off, I think, the middle ones and leave the outdoor ones on. We'll also put in some give way signs here too onto these ones. Okay. But there's some people recognizing this now. Fantastic. Okay, so we now have a new highway interchange in the city, and of course we want this cycle infrastructure to continue to flow into our transport hub today as well, so let's not forget that. Now let's begin discussing asset orientation for the transport hub itself. Let's take away this road, and just so we know, until we know what's going to fit where anyway. So I'm thinking perhaps let's bring in a road to run totally parallel with the highway here. And I definitely want to use intercity buses today. So we can go with the intercity bus station. We also have this one as well, the Metro Intercity Bus Hub, which does have Metro Line integrated into it. However, for today's build, I want to use this one as well, the Jewel Island kind of sunken station. So that's going to provide Metro for us. And I realised I had a few comments on the 5 builders one as to why I didn't use this asset right here, because it has like 3 methods integrated into it. It's just the choice of the asset. I just didn't want this look. It's very bulky. So I'd rather separate them out into individual assets than use them in one of the transport hubs. Of course, if you guys want to use them like that, then feel free to go ahead, but it's not for me. Okay, so why don't we throw this down here, alright? And then we'll chuck in one of our intercity bus stations right next door. Now, we discussed this on Sunday's live stream, and these 2 assets right here, they blend really well together. If we take a little spice sample right here of public transport spice, we can just see that, you know, the concrete blends really well. And this kind of black brick tiles that are in the metro station does work really nicely, partnered with an intercity bus station like this. I'm a big fan of it. I really like it. I think it's nice. Okay, wonderful. Let's come ahead and grab a 6-lane road again. Okay. And then we'll want to align this parallel with this road as well. So let's go for that one, and then we'll get maybe just drag this out a touch more, just so that curves a little easier on the eye. There we go. I think that'll be okay. Now, do we have the room, I wonder, to implement a one-way system into the transport hub? Looks like we do. It's not going to be... Is that going to annoy me? that isn't quite flush with the transport hub, with the metro station. Okay, it doesn't look like it will anyway, because they're a little weird, these metro stations. It's almost like they want anarchy or move it to get them to fit right. It's not like they're not perfectly straight all the way around. You can kind of see how the road behaves here, like it fits. Even if we come off just the angle snap, see, it's fine here. And then just certain places all the way along, it's not quite happy with its placement. Okay, I think that's what we'll do then. We'll go ahead and throw it in nice and flush. And then let's just bring it out just so we have the holding structure. We'll redraw in our 6-lane here. And let's have that one in there. And then trim up this support road now too. And change our direction. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, so we've got the beginnings of a new transport hub here. I also want trains over here as well. And because we're going to have a train line flow, down into the rural valleys over here, where we do currently have one, and there is obviously one here. So we'll want to bring it on this side of the river too, and possibly allow it to flow alongside the highway. There's probably some nice decoration opportunities in there too. And let's have a little look at which train station we want to use. I think it would probably be one of these. Maybe this one. I think this one's a really nice asset. Okay. But again, I think we're going to chuck it onto the other side of the road. Possibly here. Which again is going to continue to add to our highway decoration. Okay. And then we can even have a look at some smaller, intricate road network. And just on road length and angle here. You can kind of see how the sweet spot pops in and out around these metro stations. Wonder if that's just me. There it is. Slowly. Yeah, it's actually really annoying, the way they behave like that. You can kind of see how it just comes in and out, right? Anyway, I'm sure it'll be okay. Okay, so this will be the end of this train line, of course. There'll be nothing else here. And what we can do is actually just surround these metro halls with a little bit of commercial if we want. There's a couple of different options we can get involved with in that. Let's actually provide an entrance point or an exit point out of our little metro transit hub here. Okay. There's also, again, nice opportunities. Apologies if you just heard Coco shaking about. She's just woke up from a little snooze, so she's doing the old Coco shakes. Okay, let's terraform this land out again as well here. We will have a little chat about the ring road at this point. Let's see what we can do about this. Let's come on to road guideline. There we go. How do we feel about this? So I think we'll kill the ring road connection at this point. Maybe reinstate it, we'll see. And then let's grab the ring. It's going to flow this direction. We'll come back to our small roads and then upgrade into highway. Alright. We'll see if anyone... Oh yeah, there you go. There's someone picking it up. Anyone actually uses the ring road there. We'll of course take off the traffic lights off this road as well. I think we'll leave them on at this point. And I'll probably add another slip road in to come down here as well and hook in with this road. We'll just see how this junction performs over time, I suppose, as to what modifications we make to it. But already, things are looking a little nicer. So, that's my original point. Let's come off road guideline, just road length and grid, or angle for this. And we can maybe start to have a look at some road infrastructure to sit right up against the highway and use those zoning assets for decoration. Maybe get some more offices in here, or high density commercial. And perhaps let's have a little look at some assets. I wanted to come with maybe some 4x3 high density commercial for the first time. We'll grab ourselves a pathway. Run through. Okay, keep everyone nice and connected at this point. We'll come off road length into the grid. Okay. Start to introduce some nice parky green belt around this space. I'll go ahead and get everyone hooked in with services as well. So we've got power and water over here. And then we can start to discuss kind of decorating this thing out with assets and introducing the cycle network into the area as well. Okay, so I don't think I'm hating the placement of some high density commercial here. I usually avoid regular high density zoned commercial because it's not, the assets usually aren't the best. Obviously it's more of a downtown setting, but I think we can get away with it here. There's some fairly nice assets here. These ones are okay. They're going to sit nicely up in this little tiered section we've got here as well. So we'll allow a few more of these to flourish, of course being particularly choosy with what assets are coming in. This one doesn't look particularly high density, right? One of the level 1 ones. That we can get away with it. We're also using a part plaza here to sink power through. And of course, this will become an internal train line, but I have just temporarily hooked it into the national line over here. And once we have more towns down here, it will of course have more train stations in, but just so it's receiving some kind of train traffic now, it is allowing intercity trains to come in. So just a quick side note here, in case anyone else is having this issue, during some testing of this build on the Discord, which is linked down below if you guys aren't in there, me and Casino were having a chat about the intercity bus station. It doesn't seem to be receiving intercity buses. Now this is an issue with the outside connections of the map not registering to accept any intercity buses. Now there's some mods that you can get to fix this. I'll leave them linked down below. I think I'm going to have to do it again because I thought I would maybe just leave the save undone, but you can kind of see where people spawn into the map here, like they're walking. You can see a little Oliver Miller here. Is that leaving the city despite actually just coming in? Yeah, so you need to like redraw in the outside map connection. And then it fixes the issue with no intercity buses arriving at the intercity bus station. Which is a little bit annoying. I hope that's not a problem on consoles, because if it is, then I don't know how you would fix that without the mod. So I'll have to do that again in order to get our intercity bus station working. So I'll do that off camera. But otherwise, we've got a ton of industrial demand still, so why don't we just let some organic office zoning develop around here. Let's see what kind of assets we get in. Now, I'm thinking maybe a very small batch of IT cluster around here, because some of the smaller IT cluster assets are actually really nice. A lot nicer than the vanilla office. This one's not bad. I like this one. Okay, we can almost get some kind of plaza pit vibes here, you know, where they're sinking down into the metro. I think this is quite a nice aesthetic, isn't it? I don't mind that. Also, the concrete is going to continue to flush around as well. It's almost like we've got surface painter here now, you know, when you're generating this kind of aesthetic. This one's alright as well. Let's see what we do get in with some singular zonings there as well. We'll have a little look. And possible scan through some of the unique buildings too, and we could throw in a plaza or two over here as well if we want. We can maybe throw down the Lazarette Plaza alongside our intercity bus station. And then we can decorate this out with perhaps some zoo path with decorations. I think what we will do is actually use vanilla path first of all. And then upgrade into zoo path. Okay. There we go. See how we feel about that. Of course, the zoo path trees are going to match the trees outside the train station as well. So I'm not totally adverse to it. So here's some of our smaller office zonings. So yeah, it's these little taller numbers. Things are already leveling up into lots of into all of the exact same asset, immediately ruining the vibe that I originally enjoyed. Probably should have made those historical, but again, I don't think I hate that. Don't mind some of these, I don't think. Let's try some more commercial in here as well. Actually, let's try to do some mixed zoning. And let's throw in some office space along here too. Okay, and then I definitely want some assets facing out onto the highway as well. Let's also bring this road in to connect with this one now as well. And then let's chuck in Let's have a little look-see here. Let's move our park plaza over. That probably won't be a permanent fixture. We'll kind of see what happens during our detail and time lapse, obviously. And then we can border up our office zonings here. So I think I've decided I don't like these little assets here. So maybe we can just fill in with some pathway. Which the benches will be nice, you know, it'll tie into that plaza vibe. But as things are leveling up here, I'm still a little undecided. I might want to sweep through here with plop the growables at a later date and refine the assets a little bit more. See, it's these kind of high density commercials I'm not huge on. But this one here is nice. I think we'll stay with this one. Let's make this historical before he changes. Okay, great corner asset here as well. Wonderful. I've also fixed the intercity bus problem. The mods that you need are cross the line, unlimited outside connections, and the edge of camera map mod. I'll leave all three linked down below in case anyone else is having problems with their intercity buses. All you need to do is, once you've got those mods installed, is come to all of your outside connections. See, we've got intercity bus coming in now. Now they're coming in. So you just delete the connection, and then you draw it in again. Change the direction, obviously, to come in, and then it fixes it. And then we'll get intercity buses coming in now. Which is great. Not sure why that's happened. I never had that in Palaven. Maybe it's because it's a custom map. I'm unsure. But if you're not getting any intercity buses, that might be why. So go ahead and check out those mods. Let me know in the comments if anyone else has had that issue before. So I'm thinking maybe a little city park here as well. Let's continue to expand our road infrastructure out, okay. And there's a lovely little spot here for a perfectly centralised park, which is always appreciated, right? It's going to sit really nicely down here. So fill all this in and bring it down. Let's have a little look where we're coming in with the road guideline. I think we'll actually remeasure this one. Let's come off the guideline and then we'll go for... Yeah, I think we'll go for maybe 20. That should be a nice sensible space. And of course with our road guideline we'll also throw in another park side gate straight opposite. We'll have none on the sides. And then we just want to come onto our angle snap here with the fencing. And we can generate a really nice rectangular city park to sit as part of our transport hub here. Very nice. Of course, with detailing our train station, we'll also want to maybe come in with a touch of oil industry fence now within the grid. And just bring this and box it around the edge of the rail lines so they're not quite as exposed to the public. Alright, we kind of get this vibe from down on the street level now, and of course there's great opportunities here for some overgrowth spice to maybe just spill through that fence a little bit with perhaps some smaller tuftier trees just beginning to spring through, and maybe the occasional taller one as well. Okay, but as a little spice sample now on one of the street corners, we're starting to generate that vibe, I think, aren't we? I think we are. So I was thinking maybe we could bring trams down over here, but I think that would be trying to force something that doesn't really need to happen. So we'll start introducing underground metro stations for the first time within the city. So I think we'll have one line flow this direction. So let's prepare a few stations along this marker. We'll have an underground station there. And then this can continue to flow down the main street, and we'll find a spot somewhere here. What are we going to lose if we delete one of the buildings? I think we can afford to lose a bookstore. Let's take this out, lose that commercial zone in. And then we'll grab in another underground metro station. And then this can carry on flowing along the arterial, and again, we can introduce even more public transport convergence at this point. maybe with another metro station here. Let's delete that overgrowth as well. Okay, so let's get all these hooked in. And of course, because this is a dual platform, we can also span out lines from this one and send them off into that direction, which I think is what we will do. If we just come out to our angle snap here, we can maybe start to bring in some underground metro to converge with this line over here and come into the stadium and the university campus and eventually flow into the downtown. So we're just starting to prepare these larger lines to flow in different areas now. Then of course out into this direction, once we build something over there, and it can maybe follow this side of the highway and head down that way, running parallel with the train line. So it's all about these public transport systems beginning to support each other, I think, isn't it? So again, now drop in our transport lines. Of course, this can carry on flowing in that direction and maybe have a little stop alongside our downtown waterfront here as well. So I think, we're starting to think a little more grander with the planning and with our public transport lines now. So also drop a line in here as well. Take it up to this point and then bring it back down. So we'll now start to see a few folks beginning to use our underground metro, which will be nice. Let's also introduce a couple of batches of 3x3 or 4x3 commercial behind our Intercity bus station. We can link these two paths straight together, and then we'll come on to our road length. Okay. And then just start to accommodate a few of our favourite park life assets, with perhaps a cafe here and there as well. Let's bring a slightly longer one down. Cafe in there. And possible restroom action behind too. Maybe a couple of gazebos as well. So I think that'll fit in nicely with our overall public transport vibe. Okay, but we can just start to see a little busy centre starting to develop now. Which is definitely something we can all come to appreciate, isn't it? We're fairly far away from a fire station at this point, so let's maybe introduce one of the larger firehouses. If we can, let's maybe go for a smaller one. A possible police station as well. How would the police headquarters accommodate in here? It's quite a nice looking building, this one, isn't it? Yeah, okay, I think I'm happy with that. And the more the more I'm looking at this high density commercial, the more I'm hating it. The law we're counting. These office zonings aren't too bad. We're just getting a little bit of repeated action, aren't we? Yeah, okay. Let's rethink this. Let's unzone these. Let's take these away. Okay, and these as well. And then we'll go again. That repeated 4x3 high density commercial. And then I think we'll just thin it out and introduce more open space with pathways and trees between here. And we can possibly squeeze in a triplet of beaches to run between. And we'll see what kind of assets we get coming in. Okay, so this is repeated with that one. See how these two are the opposite to each other. I don't mind that, just a little bit of breathing space between those higher buildings just takes a little bit of the density out of it. We're getting some nice ground spice here as well. So I think I'm fairly happy with that. Here we can see now our intercity buses are arriving, and they are obeying our one-way system here as well. Although you are kind of circling around again, that's a little weird, you don't need to do that. But okay, whatever. No, 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 no. These are not the assets we want. These ones are okay. I'm fairly happy with that. And again, I think as these have been allowed to just develop into what they want, I'm no longer a fan of the office zoning around here. I did prefer them the way that we were. So we'll allow them to come in and then historical them again. Just so we get the vibe that we want. This kind of proves the point that, you know, your specific zonings and asset selection, at least for me, it certainly makes a difference to a build. And I hope that's a prime example of it right there. And let's not forget to bring in the cycle network into the area. It's kind of weird how the intercity buses are manoeuvring around this. I wish they wouldn't. Tons of people grabbing the metro now though, 249. Yes please, let's see if we can see a few of them down here. Let's wait for a train to arrive, there we go. Yeah, very nice indeed. Lots of public transport convergence now. So really what you want to see in these busy public transport hubs is none of them driving. If nobody gets a car out of the pocket, it's working as it should. So from train to intercity bus, so we're accepting tourists from 2 different destinations here. And then it seems like the vast majority are taking the metro, which is what we want. Also a lot of them choosing these pathways here as well. Repeated high density commercial spice has happened. Don't think I hate that. Okay. Especially since it's mirrored either side as well. I think we can get on board with that idea. This one has changed, but again, I don't mind it. Let's keep it in. Okay. But not bad. Not a bad little transport hub, I don't think. And it's certainly going to help decorate alongside our highway as well. Oh, these have changed up. Again, don't mind this one. Let's keep that in. That's going to work nicely. It's these ones I'm not a huge fan of. And again, more repeated office spice. I don't mind these either. A couple of little level 2 numbers in. Let's historical those before they change. And then of course keep our eye on this one before it changes again. It's going to be the one that I like, is it? Yes it is. Let's make that historical too. So a little office block to sit opposite our intercity bus station. Okay. Very nice indeed. And then finally, we'll discuss some more specific zoning. Do we want to come in and bring in some possible 3x3 commercial designs? I guess we can even go 4x3 here. To sit up against the back of the rail as it comes in. Then we can get some nice rock garden pallets within these roads here if we wanted to. Also, again, plenty of opportunities for pathways to circle up and around. But otherwise, a fairly cute public transport hub. How many people are grabbing the cycle infrastructure from here now, I wonder? There's one. Let's see if we can see some people move out here as well. Yeah, lots of people picking up cycling now. Very good. And there was one thing I wanted to discuss maybe before we moved into something of a detail in time-lapse, and this is bringing cycling infrastructure over this intersection. Which is another layer of height within today's build. Unsure. I'm not... don't know if I'm hugely sold on that one. We could bring it through here and then just connect it straight into the pathway there. And then bring it down over this side. And then if we were to come down just into the grid here. Again, we can get some more layers of transport height. It would be nicer to see them cycling over rather than under that tunnel. And we can also use this as a key cycling junction for the city and continue to expand it out with the roads as they grow into the various builds. I think we'll do that. I think we'll elevate the cycle infrastructure at this point over this intersection whilst we're a little more high density over here. Fantastic news. However, guys, that does feel like a wonderful place for a detailing time lapse. We have to detail our park here, of course, lots of trees, a couple of rocks as well. I'll probably also continue to border it up with some office and commercial zoning, just so it's got a little bit of a border around it. Let's also not forget to introduce some water pipes into our buildings over here, which I think will help hide that rail line a little bit easier. And plenty of highway decoration, continue to bring the fence up and alongside the rail as it flows in this direction. Reinstate some of the natural forest that we've taken away today and get some big chunkier rocks down here as well. I will also test a slip road to come out of this junction and then down onto this bottom arterial which feeds into the interchange today. And then of course just plenty of green belt opportunities around here in these open spaces around all the commercial and all our usual little detailing tips and tricks that we love so much. So let's detail up and I'll speak to you all in a minute. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares are always appreciated. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this. Some nice blemishes of high density commercial office zoning, all focused around 3 very heavy public transport buildings. The traffic's working really nicely too. I'm really happy with the road infrastructure that we've developed today, especially with this little under bridge interchange action. The traffic's flowing really nicely around this, and absolutely tons of people are taking the metro into the rest of Noveria, and I will include some cinematics of the other metro stops in the outro tag today as well. Do hang around for the outro tag as well. You guys wouldn't have seen all the detailing, and of course to the end of the episode to hear our Patreon questions, which is a new perk for you guys if you are interested in supporting the channel. There are various ways you can do so below. But otherwise I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Steve Goodwin asks, everyone has their favourite building, but what is your least favourite building and why? I'm assuming you're meaning just any building in the game. A lot of the level 4 and 5 high density residentials are pretty awful to look at, and which is why we specifically zone and historical a lot of the time with high density residential on the channel. If you're referring to unique buildings, then I'd probably say the aquarium from the level 5 unique tab. That's a really hard building to place, it stands out a lot, and without mods it can be quite hard to get it to fit. Simply Adia asks, why did you kill the council? Do you feel any remorse? I feel lots of remorse, however Renegade Shepherd does not. Renegade Shepherd cares for no one. Of course, for those not following our Mass Effect playthrough will have no idea what I'm talking about. And Shaky Snake asks, who's your favourite non-gaming content creator? I would probably say a channel called BioGraphics. It's run by a guy called Simon Whistler. He also does geographics as well. He does kind of covers famous and infamous people throughout history and their lives and what they did, and super interesting. It's great background noise. I'll leave them linked down below if you want to go and check them out. Really interesting to listen to. Thank you again for all the Patreon subscribers. You guys are bankrolling these videos probably against your better judgment, and I am endlessly thankful for your financial support on the channel. It really does make a world of difference to my life, so thank you again. If you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting the work we do here on Cities Skylines, and other stuff as well, then there are links down below. But thanks so much again, and I'll speak to you all soon.